welcome back to another episode of NFT Artist Spotlight, hosted by AstroZero. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
Today on AstroZero Twitter Spaces, we have a very special guest who is an NFT developer, a gaming developer. He has a play-to-earn platform, or I guess you would say ecosystem, on the Polygon network, and it's a good friend of ours, Matic Mike. So, Mike, welcome to our spaces. I'm glad you're able to take some time out of your day to talk to the community and let us learn a little bit more about your project.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, can you tell me exactly who the character Mike is that we've all been hearing about? And is he a gym rat or is he a stripper?
I think the two go hand in hand, right? So, Magic Mike is a play on Magic Mike, and it's a pixelated male stripper on the Polygon chain. He can also bridge over to Ethereum, though. So, in case anybody wanted to actually send him over to Ethereum to strip there, he can do that. And yeah, it kind of just was an idea. I was originally coming up with like a Nintendo kind of game, but as I was like developing it, I was like, I need this to be on Polygon just because I'm gonna have so much utility for it. So I was like trying to think of like a good name, and then I was like to my girlfriend, I was like, "What do you think about like Matic Mike?" And she was like all for it. So we kind of just let it snowball from there, and introduced our ERC20 token, which is Matic Mike Juice, or HGH, as kind of like a steroid play because he gets injected with that HGH to do some functionality in the game.
It's pretty funny when I was reading about it. I was laughing as I was going through. The whole idea is just funny, and it's just really, I don't know, it put a smile on my face when I was researching everything kind of in detail. So, have you done game development prior to this, or is this kind of your first stab at game development?
I mean, so I graduated with computer science like 12 years ago, or probably even longer now. So like in like when as I was like taking some courses then, I think we like programmed like we programmed a bunch of different games like Scrabble and a bunch of like board games. So that's like kind of like the only game development experience I really have. But I've been like a full stack dev for like the past 12 years, just building like all kinds of stuff. And I have my own freelance company where I'm building like random applications for people all the time. So I kind of dabble in things here and there, but nothing like this. This is my first like Web3 project.
So, is the team just you, or do you have other people helping you out with it?
Yeah, so I have like one of my community members is like stepping up and doing a lot of like tokenomics stuff for me now. Because originally when I went into it, I didn't think about it too much. And then but as far as like development of like the graphics, and all the code, that's just all me. And then I have some help with like marketing and stuff now.
So let's start talking about the NFTs themselves in the project. Now, when you first started the releasing of it, how many NFTs were total in the collection? I know you went through burning a lot of them, but what was the total amount that you started with?
Yeah, so we started with 10,000, and the mint process was it was like a whitelist mint. So we had like 2,000 people on the whitelist, and that was like one per person. And then like we opened it up, and it was 2,500 were free, so you can mint up to 10 per wallet. And then it was the tokenized mint, which was basically if you staked a mic in the gym, you earn one HGH per day. So that was like one HGH for one mic, and then as it got to like 4,000, I think total supply, it went up by one and just continued to do so. But I also integrated the burn reroll system that was activated right at 2,500. So that was with people just slamming the burn reroll button, and it would send your one mic to the burn address and issue you a new mic. So there's 2,637 mics in total now. And then we introduced a new collection as well recently.
So when you would do the reroll burn, would you have to pay for a new mint on the new NFT, or would it just eliminate that one, cause some scarcity, and then they would be able to re-roll right into a brand new one for the same initial price?
Yeah, so they'd just be able to burn into a new one for free. So like they minted for free and they burned for free. So it really it had no, like people were just burning like crazy. That's why we burned over 7,000 of them.
I was gonna say, because I saw on the website it's like 7,300 dead mics or something like that. I was like, so were some people just like hammering and burn like 100 mics? Because I don't see how you could just keep going, or they're just satisfied at a certain point in time that they have, this is the mic I want, or did you limit them like you only could burn 5 times or something like that?
No, so there was no limit. And that's something that with the recent collection, I actually have it so it costs 10 HGH to burn, and there's a 10 limit on it, so you can only burn up to 10 times per the initial one that you got. But for like the initial release, yeah, there was no limit, and it minted out in like 12 hours because of this, and it was just people up all night just burning one at a time, like for like the whole 12 hours. It was actually pretty fun though. Like I definitely did not sleep.
So you incorporated the game into the entire NFT element, and it's called the Dance Royale. Now, I was watching videos of it online about how it's demonstrated, but can you explain to people in the audience how the Dance Royale works with the mics?
Yeah, so basically what I did was made like a Fortnite queue, but it's all in smart contracts, like on chain. And I've expanded that recently. I pinned it in this ETH Global tweet to be able to actually enter any type of NFT in there. It doesn't have to be Matic mics. I just have to load it into the contract. But the way it works is it's a 50-man queue, and it costs whatever we set the ERC20 to. So like on our website, we have one for wrapped Ethereum and we have one for HGH. So you can enter your mic or whatever NFT you're entering into the Dance Royale. Once that queue fills, if it's 50 people, it'll auto trigger. If it doesn't fill within an hour, it lowers down to 15, or however many people are in queue if it's more than 15. And then it just auto triggers the queue. Basically, like it's like a big dice roll competition based off of your Matic mic power levels, and that's like associated with traits. And then whoever wins that dice roll gets like the pot of whatever the entry fees were. So if it goes 70% to first, 20% to second, and 10% to third. And as soon as one queue finishes, another one opens. So it's just like Fortnite, whereas like as soon as you like enter a queue and it pops, like more of them are spawning, and there's more games going on while you're in game.
So how frequently does the new game get triggered? Like, is there a set time limit? Like you have 6 games per hour, like every 10 minutes, or is it just once one is over, if people are entered into the next queue, then that one triggers and starts? Is there like a time threshold in between?
No, there's no time threshold, but it's really just like about like getting people in the queue. So like as soon as one fills, like if we had maybe like 100,000 or a million NFTs, they would probably be filling constantly, but it would still work the same way. As soon as it triggers, like you'll be able to enter into the next queue, and it's just constant. So you don't actually have to like monitor it, if that's like what you mean.
Well, does there have to be 50 participants in order for the game to start?
No, a minimum would be 15. And that's if it's past an hour time limit or whatever we set the threshold to, it'll lower down to 15. And I can set that even lower. I just think 15 is like a good number because it normally triggers like once per day at least then.
Okay. Now, is there any sort of wagering element? Like, do the people have to? Everyone tosses in like an ante of like 1 HGH in order to get into the game, and they risk it against each other. And is that how the prize pool is created, or is it a static prize pool each time that goes to the top three?
Yeah, so it's we have the one that's 1 HGH per entry. And then we have one that's 0.001 wrapped Ethereum per entry. That's like the high stakes royale.
Okay.
And then we also have a joint one with Polyfarm, another Polygon project. which is egg entry. So it's 10 eggs per entry, and that's their ERC20.
All right. So how are power levels determined? Is it by the mint that you get on your mic? Does each mic have a different set of attributes? And then throughout time, if you decide that you want to invest HGH into your specific NFT, his attributes go up, which would make him better in the dance royale against other competitors.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the way it works is like from that or initial like night of minting, all the traits have a power level associated with them. But if you actually like wanted to increase your power level like permanently, there is the token injection process, and that's kind of where it comes into play with like the HGH name of the ERC20 token. So I call it ERC20 to ERC721 token injection as like a technical name, and it's really just injecting your Matic mic with the HGH currency, and I think the current cost is like 37 right now. So it would cost 37 HGH to inject your mic, and there's a 5% chance that you will actually upgrade a random trait on him. And if that trait gets upgraded, it changes his appearance and it increases his overall power level.
Now, is that difficult to make kind of like on the go changes to a particular ERC 721? Is there something that you have to build into the code, or is it similar to like when you have a cryptocurrency and you don't renounce the contract and you can do amendments in the contract as you go along?
Yeah, so this is built in from the start of the contract. And like we don't have an actual like upgradable contract on here. So I guess it could be similar to that, where if we were to like reset the price of the token injection, we could do that. But as far as the actual upgrade process goes, it's all built into the code and there's like no way of manipulating it. So because it's an on-chain project, like it just is totally dependent on like the chain link seed and whether or not you actually hit the upgrade chance. So if it's like within the 5% range that it has to be, then you'll attempt to upgrade, and that'll also be like a random number, and it's just like determines which trade it's going to try and upgrade, and then it just goes through and makes sure that nobody has like the exact same mic that you're upgrading to, and if everybody does throughout the whole like array of trait, then it just will be another failure of an upgrade. But it is kind of difficult.
Is there any specific trait that's the most rare that gives you a higher power level than other traits?
Yeah, so with the I think so I released the Evil Club Lords recently, and that's like Mike's evil nemesis. With that, I think it's his crown is the rarest trait. There's like a gold tier crown that he has, and I think that gives you like 100 power level. For Mike's, there's a few of them that are the same. I think the leather mask as well as the rainbow vest that he has. Those are like the highest power level traits. And then there's also like a pink skin that he has, like the pink polygon skin, and that one's also like a pretty high power level.
It's so funny. Like some of the traits, man, like looking through them, I just laugh. Like I don't know where you came up with some of them, but it's a really good laugh when you start looking through some of these. Um, so everything is sold out as far as the initial mint goes, right? So everything now, if you want to buy a mic, you have to get off the secondary.
Yeah, so because it was a free mint, we had like a lot of like quick flippers. So it was like a very low floor, and we released back in like the end of October, beginning of November. So it was like right during the bear market of NFTs. Um, so we had like actually like a really low floor, like 0.003 or something. But if you like look at our sales, we have like well over like 1,000 sales now. So we're just like slowly like building our floor up, which is good. And I'm releasing a lot of new content anyways, just because like I said, I'm just doing it for hackathon entries and just to keep learning and developing my skills in Solidity.
How difficult is it for somebody, especially with what went on with OpenSea yesterday. How difficult would it be for somebody that has no experience whatsoever in creating a smart contract to be able to create something of their own in order to kind of fend for themselves without getting a developer involved or having some sort of feature in order to make their own smart contract on Solidity?
I mean, so if it's like just like a basic smart contract where you're hosting your metadata and stuff off chain, it's really not that difficult of a task. It's more so just like making sure that you're following like a tutorial like exact and not messing something up with like reentrancy attacks and or like especially with like on Polygon if you're like using like ERC20s to like wrapped Ethereum or something, like you have to make sure you're preventing any reentrancy attacks, and like it can get a little confusing. Like I wouldn't recommend just like diving in and creating your own smart contract. You definitely want to have somebody that knows what they're doing look at it at least. But I do know that there's like, and I forgot the name of the company, but I was listening to a Polygon Spaces a couple months ago, or maybe like last month, and there's this company that's building like a drag and drop no code solution to basic like smart contracts. And specifically one of the examples was ERC 721 contracts. So I think I'll have to try and find it, but I think that there are solutions being made out there. And there's also like yesterday I started going through and just trying to figure out, okay, how do I go through these OpenSea contracts that people have like just used OpenSea to mint their art and pull all that metadata quickly? Because like if you actually look at the smart contract, there's not like an easy route to pull like owners of the NFT or like the actual metadata. So I was like thinking about maybe like creating like a scraper program so you can just pull all that metadata quickly and then just have like a basic smart contract so we can just provide them for people. And that's something that I was like actually thinking would be probably a good business plan too. But it really is to get back to your question, I wouldn't recommend just diving into creating your own smart contract. I would definitely like talk to somebody that's experienced in doing it, and if you're going to do it yourself, like ask a lot of questions and have it reviewed before you put it on the smart chain, because or on the blockchain, because like there is a lot of things that can be messed up.
Yeah, I understand that. I think a lot of people have a lot of fear as far as what the future is going to be, if they're going to need a dev in their back pocket to help them with creation of smart contracts and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to ask you from a technical standpoint, because I know you kind of deal with stuff like that on a regular basis. So I was just curious how big the learning curve is for somebody that really isn't too familiar with it. So getting back to your NFT game that you have here, with the Dance Royale, let's say I have 5 Matic mics in my wallet. Can I enter all 5 of them into the Royale, or is it only one entry per wallet?
No, you can stack the Royale, and a lot of people do, and that's like a way to kind of game the system a bit. So I mean, it does give you a little bit better odds to win, right?
Yeah, I was curious how that would work. But you said that you have to pay an entry fee to get in there, right? So you could essentially, if you don't win, you're going to end up kind of screwing yourself in the long run too.
Yeah, I think it's like just kind of the way that it is like technically like a gambling game. So I feel like it's really just like the way it's supposed to be designed is just allowing people to stack the house if they wanted to.
So what are you using? You're using a chain link RNG to determine the overall statistics and the rolls that people are getting?
Yeah, so actually I've updated the contract a bit. It always used Chainlink to do rolls, but if you were like really savvy and like really knew how to spy on a contract, you can still pull like nothing on chain is totally like private. So it initially was like determining roles as soon as you entered, and the Chainlink VRF would call back. So it would store those roles in the contract, And then when the final entry went through, it would just do like who rolled higher in the final call. But I've actually updated that contract now to be like completely hidden because it assigns seeds to every single user that enters as they enter. But then that last entry then triggers a new seed that modifies all the seeds at the end and then does all the rolls in the last call. So there's absolutely no way to actually cheat the system or spy on it.
Yeah, we don't like cheaters, but that makes total sense. Um, Even I kind of understood that one, and I don't really know too much about how all of that works. Now, how many different contracts do you have what we'll call it an ecosystem, interacting in your ecosystem that you have here? It's a separate contract for your native token, it's a separate NFT contract, it's a separate PvP and PvE contract? Is that how you have everything set up?
Yeah, and some analytics contracts. I think right now we're up to like 30 contracts or so that interact with each other. But it's like because there's no API, there's no off-chain data in this project. It's just a lot of contracts interacting with each other. We have like an analytics contract that pulls from every single Dance Royale contract that I enter or that I create. So if I create new ones in the future, it still pulls all your stats back to your Matic Mic metadata as well as the website and your wallet address as well. So all this stuff is done on chain and kind of acts as both a database and an API.
So, is there any type of possible security measures that you might have integrating all of those contracts into one ecosystem? I mean, as far as like copycats, or if somebody does like some sort of scam contract to be built in, is there any way that it could be compromised running all of those, or is it not really an issue because you said there's no APIs and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's no way you can like actually like infiltrate our actual smart contracts. But like, yeah, if you wanted to do a copycat of it, if you had a really high level of understanding, like I was able to pick it up because I've been a full stack dev for 12 years and have been like straight up just like diving into Solidity and like really learning everything and the ins and outs and just like the different exploits and and just like security measures against that. But even if you did like grab all our contracts, you still have to make all the graphics, figure out how those graphics are pulled, um, and really still come up with a concept that works. So I'm not really too worried about it. I know that there have been a few copycats of like using our battle royale queue, but that's kind of the whole point of it. I wanted to just do this as both a learning experience and to teach people how to do things. So.
Yeah, I know recently I've been seeing a very big uptick of people doing copycat projects of Polygon projects. I saw it. It was done to Emily Ann, and it was done to Congo Kings. I know offhand, and I mean Congo King's project got copied before he even released it. Which I was like, that's some ballsy stuff right there. So I was curious if there's any type of security issues that you might have to be concerned with when you're just running that many different types of contracts at the same time. But they would really have to know what the hell they're doing in order to do it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like a good example of another fully on-chain project. This was on Ethereum, was Wolf Game, and there was a lot of copycats of that, and they had the issue with the Flashbots exploit, where you can basically predetermine whether you're going to mint a wolf, which is the very valuable NFT, or a sheep. And then there was also an exploit in there where they have their own ERC20 token wool, which you could pull out of the like from staking, and it would have a tax on it. But if you actually unstaked your sheep, you could pull it out with no tax on it, or a 50% chance that you lose all the wool. And there's like this exploit where you can actually like revert the whole call if it didn't hit what you wanted, and just keep doing that until it did hit what you wanted. And so people copied these contracts but they weren't able to actually like fix the exploits. So then they release a contract and they just fail because people just are exploiting their contract. So it does take a high level of understanding and like a really especially when you're dealing with like minting and risk factors with metadata on chain. It does take a lot of like auditing and making sure that you're doing everything properly.
All right, so we're talking with Matic Mike and about his NFT project and gaming ecosystem that he has coming out. If anybody has any questions for Mike, feel free to raise your hand if you're in the box, and or if you're down bottom and you want to come up and talk, feel free to request, and I'll bring you up to the box. So you're coming out with a PVE game. Is there a release date for this, or you're not 100% sure when it's going to be all ready and up and going with the evil club lords?
Yeah, so basically the story behind it is basically the evil club lords have stolen Matic Mike's mojo, and he's trying to get it back, kind of like Austin Powers, if you've ever watched that. And what you're going to be doing is going on different tiers of like quests with these evil club lords, where your Matic Mike can enter into a different tiered club with your evil club lord and try and get his mojo back. And basically, what that's going to do is give you a mojo booster. And this is going to be like for like a tier 1 club, it'll be like +1 to +4 mojo boost. And that's going to add to your overall power level and then be used later on in some crafting mechanisms I'm going to put in the game. It's also going to pull an animated graphic onto your Matic Mike or Evil Club Lord. That's going to be in the background of him. The next tier, like, so say you want to go to like a tier 2 club, that's going to require a +4 mojo booster. So it's basically going to limit the amount of clubs you can go to, and you're just going to have to repeat the quests until you're able to actually get to that top tier club. And the other like kind of like, I mean, I guess I would call it a risk factor, but it's like kind of a win-win, is the evil club lord or the Matic Mike can win that mojo booster based off of like their power levels and a roll that they do at the end of that quest. And yeah, that's kind of going to be the intro to PvE. But we're going to actually integrate a lot more probably within the next 2 months. I'm waiting for the Chainlink Spring Hackathon to like do my huge idea, but because you have to code it all within the window. But I do think that we'll have a good shot at that Chainlink Spring Hackathon prize because I have like some major ideas down the roadmap.
That's awesome. Sleepy Pirate, you have a question for Mike?
Yep, thank you for having me. I have tons of things to learn from Matic Mike because I'm gonna develop a game too. I don't know if you guys just asked this question, but I'm sorry about it because I was on my own space. How many people works for developing this game, and how long have you been creating this game? Thank you.
Yeah, so we have so it like on the OpenSea it shows like 200 something holders, but that number doesn't include all the Matic mics that are staked in either the club or the gym. So I think we have like over 700 holders now out of that 2,637 total supply. And I think we have some unique holders of Evil Club Lords now as well. So it's probably more like 800 unique holders. And that's been since like the beginning of November is when we released the initial release. And then I've just been releasing content every like maybe like once a month since then. And I guess to answer your question too, like the initial coding of the project I did it within the Chainlink Hackathon window. So like the first like contracts took me like a week of coding, but I whiteboarded the idea out and tested the idea for probably like a month before that. So I've basically been learning Solidity since the beginning of October.
So you ended up winning the fall hackathon for Chainlink, right? For what was it, best Polygon concept idea, was it?
Yeah, so we won the best Polygon NFT DApp, and then recently I entered 2 weekends ago into the ETH Global NFT hack, and that one I just won overall. Like it was 16 total winners out of like 300 projects or something.
Oh, that's awesome. So how does somebody get involved in that? Do you have to be a developer of some sort in order to enter into these, or do they have other types of events that NFT holders in general could just get into?
Yeah, no, you can just. I mean, like they normally all involve like coding, because like that's kind of what hackathons are. But they you can like enter with a team, and normally like you just apply. Like so, ETH Global has like 15 or 16 hackathons a year. So basically, like at least one a month, and you can just enter with like a team, or you can enter and try and find a team. I just enter solo. But those actually had, those are my only two hackathons I've ever entered. I just like figured since it's there, and since it might be free money, like why not try and enter?
Does it cost you anything to enter into them?
No, so with ETH Global, they take like a 0.003 Ethereum deposit, and that's just to make sure that you actually are going to like participate. And but if you whether you win or lose, you get that deposit back. And with Chainlink,
And is it? Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
with Chainlink, it was just free. You didn't have to do anything.
Now, is it like a physical convention that you meet at, or is it done online, like through a Zoom, or how does it run?
Yeah, so I mean, there are in-person hackathons, but I think since COVID, they've really like slowed down. Um, so all these are remote.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the native token that you have incorporated into this project, the HGH token that you have. This runs on the Polygon network. Now, was there a specific reason that you decided to run it on Polygon versus I know your project is on Polygon as far as the minting and stuff goes, but would you be able to, like, let's say if you wanted to run the token on BSC, would you be able to do that, or there would be no capability to do something like that as far as like bridging from BSC to Polygon?
Well, right now, natively, it can bridge to Ethereum. So like you can send your mic to the Ethereum chain and sell him in Ethereum if you wanted to, like on aftermarkets. And the same with HGH, you can send it over to Ethereum, but there's really no point to because all the utilities on Polygon, and that's why I released it on there. If we wanted to do something to like bridge it to BSC, I'm actually like I just started like doing some side development for Umbria. Um, and I would probably utilize like an Umbria or just like utilize like some of my um, coworkers, I guess, there to like help me build a bridge to actually bridge that token over to BSC, which we just launched a chain over or a bridge over there, or like Avalanche or whatever we would really want to do. But you can do that. I mean, you can do it with any project that's out there right now, as long as it's like its own smart contract. You just have to be able to build the bridge to actually do something like that.
So is the HGH just considered as in-game currency, or is it purchasable through QuickSwap with Matic?
Yeah, so it's on like SushiSwap and QuickSwap. There are like some liquidity pools that the community has formed. I try and stay out of it. I don't really have any links on the website to buy it, but it's there. Uh, I guess like I was just talking to somebody recently that said like you can put links of like HGH pool on the website with like no real issue like of any like security stuff. So I'll probably start doing that soon. So like if you do want to get into the project and you want a head start and to get some HGH, you can just click on the link. But I'm very like cautious about not adding to the liquidity pool, not buying and selling, and not promoting it too much.
Yeah, I think that would be a smart idea, especially with what's going on with SEC and Yeah, you don't really want to be on that type of radar, so I don't really blame you as far as that goes. Now, in order to get access to the gym and the game itself, you have to have some HGH in your wallet, right?
Well, to access the gym, you just have to have either a Matic mic or an Evil Club Lord, and that's how you actually earn the HGH to begin with. So if you put your mic in the club, you earn 1 HGH per day per mic you have in the club. If you put your Evil Club Lord in the club, or I'm sorry, in the gym, you have you earn 0.25 HGH per day. And you can also get, so with the way the Evil Club Lords work is you can stake your mic into the club, which is different from the gym, for a cost of 10 or 25 HGH, and then it assigns you a random amount of time where your mic is going to be locked in the club, and you get issued this new NFT that has like your mic on it with like some lights, and it has like an hourly countdown on it. So it might say something like 300 hours remaining or whatever. Once that hours gets down to 0, your Evil Club Lord is spawned. And then once that Evil Club Lord spawned, you can withdraw your mic from the gym and stake him back, or from the club and stake him back in the gym, or you can stake him back in the club and summon one more Evil Club Lord.
Do you consider yourself a gym rat?
Myself, probably from before this project, I have like a home gym, but not anymore.
Do you do you have a past career in adult male dancing, Mike?
No, I don't, but my girlfriend has made me watch the Magic Mike movies.
Man. So, how important do you think education in the NFT and crypto space is, and why are we lacking it so much? And what do you think we could do to bring more awareness to getting this whole world that we're all living in here, at least in some capacity, out to the masses?
Yeah, I think that there's just a severe lack of um, understanding of how blockchain works, and that's like been the problem for the past since like Bitcoin, and like it just had like a bad rap, so a lot of people just write it off. Um, but like I even see like developers talking about, oh, like the blockchain is still centralized by nature, and that's not true, and that's not the case. So I mean, like it's really just a lack of understanding, and I think the best way to do it is just to keep coming out with more unique, um, just like games or apps or whatever that run specifically on the blockchain but are open to the public. So I think we're already in the like moving in the right direction with getting these cool games that have like this whole different way of thinking about gaming involved with randomness and rarity and just like economics that actually can be converted to real life dollars. Like I think that's like something that's like so like it amplifies like just how cool and unique blockchain can be. I also think that there's a really good place for it in NFTs, like how it initially started with, where it's mainly focused on the art and not the utility. And I think that there's room for both of these things, and eventually it will. I mean, it's already becoming more mainstream, and I think, I mean, 10 years from now, this is going to be like a conversation that's like not even like being had because everybody's going to be using it.
Yeah, I think it's going to move along a lot quicker than how the internet, when it, well, I'm a little bit older than you, but like when the internet, how quickly it evolved from the dial-up days to the DSL days to where it is now. I think it's going to move even quicker than that. I think we're going to be on kind of a fast pace as far as moving forward, and that's refreshing. And I wish he was still in here. There was a kid that was up here in the speaker box. He has a puppy project, and he's 14 years old or 15 years old. And I was talking to him in DMs before, and I really wanted to have him up here and ask him a few questions. I guess he had to leave, but I'm starting to see more and more young teenager kids and even kids that are, pre-teenagers. A good friend of ours, Chronic Cats, his daughter is, I believe, 7 or 8 years old, and she's already starting her own NFT project. So it's nice that we're seeing people that are much younger than myself and yourself getting into this. And hopefully it starts getting integrated into our everyday school education because it's going to be the future. There's going to be PhDs of people in blockchain technology, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen really soon too.
Yeah, I mean, I was even like looking at the course list recently of like the school I went to for college, and like they have like an entire like blockchain section now. So, and it's taught by like the professor that was one of my favorites back in the day. So, I mean, it's definitely moving there, and I just wish that I was like, I mean, it really feels reminiscent of when I was in middle school programming like simple websites for and just like grabbing like flash games and throwing them on the website that everybody in the school would play. Like that's kind of like what blockchain feels like now. It was how the internet was back then during like you said, like the 56K like dial-up times. And it's going to move fast, and it's basically like your chance. And I'm not a financial advisor, but if you could have invested in the internet before the internet existed, I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, your game is pretty uh don't take offense to this, but it's a pretty rudimentary as far as how the game is laid out, and um, not really super advanced with graphics or anything like that. How long in the future do you think it's going to take before games on the blockchain look like a PS5 game or one of these new Xbox games or like a highly detailed Call of Duty or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could do that now, just by making it like a hybrid system, where you're and like Chainlink also helps with this too, or you can just like create your own oracles. But you can have a completely hybrid system where you're doing a lot of off-chain gaming, but then like you'll have like a final feature where you're where you're communicating with the blockchain to write new data to it that's stored. But as far as like using NFTs in actual games and creating like 3D graphics and like a very high intense or like even like a World of Warcraft or something like that, that's capable now, and I think it's actually like something that can really benefit games currently by having like all these off-chain or on-chain resources with metadata being pulled into a centralized off-chain system and combined. And I think that's kind of what the metaverse is, and that's why blockchain is going to have a huge uh, impact on what the metaverse actually is as it's being built.
And I mean, if you have like an MMORPG and you want to do weapon sales or something like that, I could speak from personal experience. I used to play a game called Lineage 2, and a lot of the graphics for each particular thing, it might be like a bag of varnish, it might look the same as something that's an advanced element in the game that you might need, but the graphic for the bag would look the same when you look at it. If you have it on the blockchain, people wouldn't be able to scam you like in game for in game currency. It would just, this is the particular item and that's what you're getting. So as dumb as it sounds, people can't scam you for weapons in game or whatever the case might be if you have it on the blockchain because everything's assigned um, a specific value on the blockchain. So I don't know. I'm getting all nostalgic with this stupid Lineage game that I used to play. Let me get back to Matic Mike. So, do you have anything planned in the future as far as the Matic Mike character goes, or is he kind of going to go off into the sunset after you're done with the Evil Club Lords? Are you going to make maybe a Generation 2 and continue different types of gaming and stuff with him, or is this pretty much going to be his last hurrah?
No, I think so. Matic Mike's always going to be a staple of the entire game or ecosystem in general. So he's going to continue to evolve, whether it be actual metadata on him or just metadata from other contracts that he has an impact on. So I don't think that he's going anywhere, because I do have years worth of roadmap to develop, and I don't really plan on stopping. So I would say no. He's gonna always be here. He might train up some apprentices that do some other functionality in the system, but he'll always have like a major role, and he is the genesis of the collection and will always be the most valuable.
So, what's your biggest success story that you've had with this project thus far?
So I think like most of it is the hackathon wins. I also just like think the community that I've been introduced to, as well as just connections I've made with other projects, has been like impacted greatly with it. I've also like used the knowledge that I've learned to invest in some more like Ethereum projects. Just are more valuable. That's just how they are right now because of the volume on Ethereum. So I've like used the knowledge to review contracts and buy into other projects as well, which has helped me be more successful in my NFT purchasing. So I think like all those things I'm pretty proud of as far as accomplishments. But I just really think like just like how educated I've become on this whole on what I can build and how much you can build on the blockchain, and is just like really the biggest accomplishment.
If you could change one mistake that you made while launching this project, what would have it been?
I probably wouldn't have done a free mint, and that's just because it did like severely impact the way the project took off. And it's not because I would have wanted to make money off of it. It's just I wanted to get the right users in, the right active user base in. So we've been dealing with like this past since launch, just basically getting all the people that exploited the mint by just like minting with a bunch of wallets out and like active users in. And we finally like crossed that threshold of now our active users are the ones that have accumulated when they were low, and the new floors are being set by some of our like longtime holders that just are just taking some profit off of some of the ones that they bought when they were very low on OpenSea. So I think that's probably the big thing.
So we're talking with Matic Mike. If anybody has any questions for Mike and is up in the speaker box, raise your hand. If you're down bottom and you want to come up, request to speak. We'll get you up here. We're going to wrap up kind of soon. We'll go over to Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
I just want to know if you're going to put your evil club lords in a dancer. That's it.
Yeah, so the evil club lords and Matic Mikes, they all can enter the dance royale already. And that's kind of the one thing that I won the hackathon for a couple weekends ago, is being able to grab, because they're two different contracts. So I can grab from the Matic Mike contract, I can grab from the Evil Club Lords contract, and I can grab from like we were grabbing from Polyfarm and any like other Polygon project that might be interested in getting involved in something like that. We can pull all those NFTs into the battle royale, and all of them can enter. So they're in there and they're dancing, and some of them win.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just off the back of that, is there a difference in entry fee or prize or anything for anything different, or is it all equal roles, equal entries, equal everything else?
Yeah, so the entry fee is the same for everybody. If we do add like a contract that doesn't have like obviously like contracts that aren't part of the Matic Mike project won't have a power level associated with them. We actually assign a random power level to them, so it's like between like the low end and high end of mics. Like you can basically enter and get assigned a random power level between like 400 to like 453 or something. So it basically gives everybody an equal chance to win. I think if you have a mic or Evil Club Lord, if it's a high power level one, you have a slightly higher chance to win. But the way to think about it really is just if you have a 450 power level, it's like rolling a 450 sided dice. So you might be rolling up against somebody that has a 500 sided dice, but they can also roll lower than you. So it doesn't really make too much of a difference. It's just a slight percentage higher.
Creative L's, you're up.
Hey man, real impressive of what you got going on. My questions are on the contract side. You said you got into this like about it like 2 years ago. What was been the hardest part within writing the contracts? Was it understanding like the new syntax, or understanding like the new logic of how to connect IDs and variables together?
I think the hardest part of writing smart contracts is the foresight of if there's any securities issue, like once you actually launch this. So like with like reentrancy things, you can with reentrancy attacks, you can like basically drain contracts of all their currency that's stored in the contract, and then you're left with nothing, and somebody walks away with all your money. Or like with like on-chain metadata, it's like if you're assigning traits on Mint, you can maybe write like a Flashbots like package with your own smart contract to basically check the contract for your newly minted NFT, and if it doesn't hit the exact traits you want, revert the whole call. And that's like a very like basic like explanation of how it works. But that's like the hardest part of writing smart contracts. I would say the other part is just like knowing your limitations. Like there's a lot of syntax differences, and there's a lot of like things that you just can't really that just aren't very easy to do, like using decimals or like going negative, using negative numbers, and just like understanding how mappings work and just things like that, and also communicating with other contracts as well. So I mean, I think there's a lot to learn, but if you have any code knowledge and you do start learning it, just take your time and learn it. Don't like try and rush out a contract just to make sure you get your thing out. Like this, we're at the beginning of NFTs, so there's no like rush in getting stuff out unless you're like really just trying to like pump like a idea just to make money, not to actually build something the right way.
Man, I love that. Great answer. And then my last thing is, the very beginning we talked about creating like an automated scraper, right? Um, what would be your application for that if you were to create it? Is this kind of like a shell script that you run and it like automatically like creates like a Selenium IDE like crawler where it's doing automation processes and then just spitting it into like a database, and then from there you're just kind of requerying it?
No, so like the way I was thinking of building it, so I've written scrapers for, this is how I originally got into looking at NFTs, and I never really capitalized on it, but I had written scrapers where I would just plug in like the token URI endpoint of like a project that was minting, and basically just pull all the, if they didn't have it like masked, I could pull all the metadata for every single token that's being minted, so I can kind of look ahead and figure out when to mint to try and get a rare. And like, I mean, that's just, I guess, like the advantage of being a developer. But I never really took advantage of it. I was just like, this needs to be changed. So if I was to write a scraper for like OpenSea, because Polygon doesn't have an API, this is mainly for Polygon projects, I would probably do like a plug and play where I would just plug in the collection URL and then just go through every individual NFT and then pull the metadata from what API OpenSea does have. So they have like a simple like API where you can grab the metadata from the actual token ID. So I can like pull all that from different.
Would you be doing that through like the XML side of it?
So I would probably just write like a Python script that runs through it and does it. But
Okay,
I wouldn't
got it.
I wouldn't use like a browser automation like Selenium or anything. There wouldn't really
Okay.
be a need for that.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's the other side I was looking at is hit it through the front interface and just pick up the traits through the browser side using like a Selenium IDE that allows that automation process. But that's done with like JS.
Yeah, and I don't think it's really necessary for what you're trying to do. You're just trying to pull all the JSON files and the images.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the only way that I know right now through a front interface using JavaScript using Selenium IDE. Because the thing about it is that like the automation process, like and making sure that it once it keeps running, if it stops, it'll spit out, right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. I don't see the need for it as like as using that. I understand like why you're using it, but I don't think it's necessary for what you need it to do. And if you really like, if there's like a limitation on like a rate limit or something, you could always put like a sleep function in and just rerun when that rate limit was lifted.
Yeah, I think I was just saying like that's the only way that I know how to do it. What from my experience using JS, using Python would be a whole different challenge for non-super back-end developers. I'm more of like a light PHP, HTML, JS side of things.
So I didn't understand any of that stuff, but let's let's just continue here. Ron Paul, did you have a question or a comment for Matic Mike?
Yeah, I just had something for the group from a collector standpoint. If there's any collectors in the room, if you need help coaching on the best way to play the Matic Mike game, you could always DM me. In my opinion, the best way to do it is to get 10 mics in the gym, so you're getting passive income every day. You'll be getting 10 HGH per day, and then within your MetaMask wallet, you can swap that HGH easily, instantly for a free Matic or free wrapped ether. So I use Matic mics as a collector to get passive income. So currently the max mics you could have in the gym at once is 10. So what I did is I created a couple extra wallets in my MetaMask. So I'm kind of cheating the system. I got 30 mics in the gym across 3 wallets. So every day I'm getting 30 HGH for free. And then I just transfer that back in my MetaMask and swap it for free wrapped ether, free Matic. And the other thing I do is my onesies and twosies mics, I'll put them in the club to breed a free Evil Club Lord NFT. So it's just a great way to earn passive income. And also, since I got in, the floor has risen from, it was about 0.004, and right now it's 0.014. So the floor keeps going up as well. So just if there's any collectors out there and you want coached in the best way to get the passive income, my DMs are always open here and in Discord. That's all I got.
Ron. Somebody else just Sleepy, do you have anything, or do you just want to come up and say hi and take us out with a nice guitar?
Yep. I don't have anything to say, and I just got rugged. I just came back.
I got one or two more questions for you, Mike, before we wrap up. Do you feel that, I mean, you have everything kind of tied into a nice little package with a bow on it as far as how everything is kind of integrated. You really do have like an ecosystem built here. Do you feel that projects now are taking unnecessary pressure to put more utility into a project to the point where it just gets clunky?
Yeah, I think that there's projects that shouldn't be getting into utility at all because like they're an art project and that's what they should be, or they're a profile picture project and that's what they should be. I think that there is this added pressure now that you have to do this utility or you have to provide passive income or whatever in order to succeed instead of what the initial concept of NFTs actually was when they first became popular, which is just an art piece. I think that there's a place for both of them, and I touched on that earlier. I don't think that anybody should be trying to add additional utility if that's not what they wanted to do in the first place. They should do what they want to do and build the project how they want to build it.
I agree 100%. You know, I was saying this earlier today too, that you don't need utility if you want to put utility in and it offers not just value to your customer, but it offers value to yourself where you feel like it's something that's necessary in the project. Put it in. But I've talked to a few people in spaces recently, and it seems like every single type of utility that you could possibly dump into a project is there. And when they're trying to do like their little pitch to let people know about their project, you're just like, you feel like you're getting bombarded. Like there's just too much. And I just want to stress to people, you don't need all that stuff to have a successful project. It starts with community, and then from community, it just builds from there. I got one other. Oh, Aiden's down there. Let me bring Aiden up. And the last question that I have for you is where. Oh, I actually have two more questions. Are you still doing Twitter Spaces? I know you're doing Spaces for a while.
Yeah, so that's normally run by Kaz, one of my mods. I know he slowed down a little bit on the spaces, and that's just because he was having issues like finding new Polygon projects to bring on that wanted to. But basically, what we do is kind of how you run yours. Is Monday through Thursday we would have a Twitter space between like either 7, 8, or 9, and we would just kind of spotlight one project and bring attention to them. And we still do when we get a good project that wants to be on. But I know that it really depends on who wants to come on. So if you do have a project, reach or come into our Discord, and I'll have Kaz like talk to you, or just like tag Kaz. He's under the lead mods, and he'll start setting something up with you. I'm not always on there because I'm so busy. I'm like so busy just like trying to get all this code written. But yeah, I do have mods that do it.
Okay, awesome. What's up, Dave?
I just want to say, we can pull that through for you. You know, like if you want to do it, we've got the platform to get people on there. We just need to know that that's where you're at and what Kaz wants to do as well. So get him to reach out to me, and we can start putting people through from the spaces where we get 200 projects come through a week.
Yeah, definitely. I know the Beluga space is like a really good asset. And that's something that we're actually going to start utilizing more in Umbria as well, because we're trying to, with Umbria, if you do have a Polygon project, we're trying to bring on as many projects as possible to be partners with them. Normally what we're doing now is asking.
Mike, we've got them in with Polygon Alliance, so come over there with us and help us push that together. They've come into Polygon Alliance for exactly that reason. I had a chat with them yesterday, or today. I don't know what the day is. I've been on a lot of phone calls, but yeah, like let's collaborate on all of that sort of stuff, and get pushing that together and bring you properly into Polygon Alliance.
Yeah, I'm in there. For some reason, I'm not under a project owner though. You got to just bump me up.
On it now.
So
Great job, Josh.
My last question for you, Mike, before we wrap up is where do you see this project a year from today?
Yeah, so I haven't really touched on it too much, but in the next like few months, I'm gonna like start releasing the Matic Microverse, and that's gonna be. I mean, I guess this is more of like a second quarter scope rather than like the full year. But the Matic Microverse is going to be a way where you're going to be able to like turn your wallet into like your own club, and it's going to have a custom URI and like kind of like a social network, but all on the Matic Mic website, all on chain. And that's going to have things like your entire stats, like for all the battle royales that you've entered with mics that you own or maybe mics that you sold as well. All that's going to be stored onto your wallet address, so you'll be able to pull it up. The other thing you're going to be able to do is kind of design your entire page based off of ERC 721s or ERC 1155s, the multi-token, that you'll be able to purchase using a new currency I'm going to integrate into the Matic Mic system. I haven't decided on the name, but it may just be Mojo. That you'll earn by doing these long journeys with your clubs or with your mics and your evil club lords. And that's all going to like kind of design the page. It's going to give your wallet, your entire wallet, power level boosts. There's going to be consumables for your mics, and then within like the next year, as well as in the next like few month period, we're going to start introducing more active PvP and PvE, where you're going to actually be like in like a turn-based like Pokemon style game where you're signing transactions for every move you make. So if you're like fighting another player, you may be doing a healing transaction or a attack transaction, and it's all going to be utilizing like chain link to actually like fight other mics or other club lords, or maybe team up and go against like raid bosses and stuff like that. So we're going to try and integrate a lot of different gaming features into it, as well as like almost like a social network experience into it as well.
Wow, you really have a lot going on, and you're super talented. And I just got to say, man, like, what a freaking project that you have. I mean, it's just unbelievable, all the elements that you have tied in, and really super impressed. And also, congrats on the hackathon wins. You know, we need a lot more people like you in the community that could be helpful with people as far as like the coding and everything goes, that could kind of give people a little bit of a push and educate people a little bit better, because that's really what this is all about. You know, the more educated people get in this space, the better the space is going to be. I just want to thank you for giving us a little bit over an hour of your time today. It was really great to talk to you. Check out Mike's website, maticmike.club. Go pick yourself up some evil club lords, get into some dance royales, win some passive income. Mike, I just want to thank you again. It was really great to have you on with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Dave, for being on. Creative Owls. Thanks, Ron. Ron's like my whale, and he says some of the things that I don't for legality reasons. And just like everybody in here from the Matic Mike family, and everybody that's not in there, that I'm just appreciate you actually taking the time to listen to me and learning a little bit about pixelated male strippers.
Well, if we weren't talking about pixelated male strippers, what would we be talking about right now?
I don't know, man.
So, everybody, thank you for stopping by.